haven't done an update on Scarlett in a while, so I figured today I would kind of see where she's at in her training. She's been getting really fresh the last couple days, and even though I don't have any plans to ride her anytime soon, I think it would benefit her if we got into some kind of schedule. She does still have a lot of trouble with me putting a new halter on her and taking the old one off.
Alright.
So every day I am still working with her on that. It's something I built into her routine, so every time I see her, I bring her some snacks and we work on moving her halter around. This is the round pen that I like to start all of my horses in, but it is pretty icy in places still. There is one area that's pretty thawed out. It's basically the spot that the sun is still shining on right now. The other day I had Studman, Skeletor, Stewie, and Prim in the arena doing some of these exercises. So today I'm kind of gonna put Scarlett through the same deal just to see where she's at. Before I take her to the big arena, I'm gonna have to feel comfortable lunging her around in a smaller area in this round pen just to make sure she's not pulling away from me. It's been a few months since I've lunged her and she was doing really well. I lost my stick somewhere and I couldn't find it, so I don't have one. This is a skill that she's had for a relatively long time, and she does understand my body language and shouldn't have too much trouble figuring out what I want with my body language alone. At the start of this session, she was a little bit fresh, so I just let her trot around. She was doing a really good job listening to my cues and staying forward. Scarlett knows all the basics, so she can walk, trot, and lope around on a lunge line in a smaller circle like this. I haven't really worked on her body carriage or her quality of movement yet. Once they figure out the bare bones of this little exercise, they tend to naturally just fall into a better way of moving. She was having a little trouble at this area in the arena, and at the time I thought it was because there was a little bit of shiny ice on the ground. The sun was going down, so I thought it looked a little bit different than when she had been past this spot earlier. But if you guys notice when she goes around, I do think that it's actually the shadows on the side of the round pen that she was a little bit nervous about. Right here you can see she just hesitated a tiny bit and then scooted past it once she couldn't see it anymore. And she's going to do the same thing again right here. Once she's over the shadow, she kind of gets a little burst of energy. After she was brayed and made it past that spot, I let her stop and I gave her some pets just to let her know that she was being a really good girl. I also did give her a treat. I don't use treats a whole lot in my training, but Scarlett can tend to get very anxious if she's afraid, and that just stems from her being a wild horse having to be on high alert all the time. So even though she was scared of her shadow on the wall, she was able to be brave and get past it, so I let her have a break and gave her a treat. Hopefully in her little horse brain that will create a positive association with the training that we're doing and ultimately build her confidence in novel ideas that I ask her. It only took her about 8 minutes to quiet down from when I started with her. Tiny really wanted to come in the round pen and get some scratches, but I wanted to keep chugging along with Scarlett so I didn't run out of daylight. Now that I've got her in a better frame of mind, I'm just going to ask her to do the same things we've been doing. Now that I've captured her mind, she should be able to do this with a lot less stress. She'll be able to relax and stretch her head down like she did there. If you've watched my video from the other day, this is something that Prim does really well. She goes from very excited and flighty to relaxed and confident in a very short period of time. Before I move on in their training with any horse, they need to be in this frame of mind. Scarlett is now getting a little bit bored, which is the perfect time for us to move on to something new. I'm gonna go ahead and put her on that scary spot in the round pen. Now that she's more confident and relaxed, you can see she's just trotting past it like it's not a big deal at all. So instead of really forcing her to go past that spot over and over and over again, which would be like a classic way of desensitizing a horse to something scary, I just look for an opportunity to reward her curiousness. Instead of addressing one single thing, I am building her confidence and curious nature for the future. You'll see here in a little bit how that helps them in their training as we go on to discovering new things. Recently, she has been a little bit resistant to leave the round pen. I have been putting her inside at night and she just doesn't like staying in a stall still. So to kind of end our session today, I'm going to take her outside and we're going to go on a little walk. As soon as I open the door to the round pen, she starts kind of dragging her heels. Tiny, of course, is waiting for us. She's not been horrible about coming out, but I think if I don't address it, then it could turn into a bigger problem. So she comes out with a little bit of coaxing. I'm going to walk her over in the opposite direction of the barn just so she maybe realizes that we're not going inside. And as soon as she realizes we're not going to the barn, she is instantly on high alert. Wild horses can have a lot of trouble being out in open space. And Scarlett is definitely on the lookout for anything that could be a threat to her. After taste testing the manure pile, she decides that it's not too scary. And then just like earlier in our session, she notices her shadow on the horse trailer. And you can tell by her expression that she is pretty scared of it. Again, I thought when I was actually out there with her that she was just scared of the trailer. I didn't notice the shadow on it until I replayed the video. You can see her checking in with me, kind of asking, hey, is this all right? All right. And it took her less than a minute to realize that she was going to be okay, and we went on to another task. She's seen this bridge before, but I had another horse out with her when we were investigating it for the very first time. Bridges can be a really scary thing for a horse to learn how to go over. I like to use them to get ready for trailer loading because they do have to step up and they make a sound when they get on them. Initially, Scarlett didn't think too much about the bridge. She investigated a little bit, and I just wanted her to take one little step on it and see how she reacted. She was brave enough to put 2 feet up, so I gave her a little bit of a break and some scratches. I also did give her a treat right there. I have found that when you lead these guys on the bridge for the first time, sometimes it helps to take them off a different direction than they went on, and she did that really nicely. Then I went on to take her across the bridge short ways, which horses can have some trouble with because they don't like it when their front feet are off the bridge and their back feet are still coming on the bridge. She does get a little bit nervous and back off. Not a big deal. I'm just gonna go back again and let her walk off in the other direction to boost her confidence. She is staying curious, so that is a great sign. I do think she's probably confident enough now to go over the bridge long ways. This is the first time we approached it and she got a little bit wiggly. I just went back and put her in a better spot to make it easier for her to get on. 2 feet and lots of scratches for her. She didn't really have a problem getting the hind feet on the bridge, and then she wanted to kind of walk right off and I let her do that. Now that she's not really scared of getting on or coming off the bridge, I'm going to ask her to do it a few times in a row. And what I'm looking for is her to become kind of bored with what we're doing. I've noticed just with Scarlett that she can go from terrified to bored in a very short period of time. She did get a little bit distracted because Skeletor and Studman started playing while they were turned out, which was a really good test for her because I was able to go right back into what we were doing. She went right up and over the bridge without hesitation, and then she actually came off the bridge and was investigating the weeds on the ground. And this is exactly what I'm looking for in a session with a very young horse who's learning new things every day. She did get a little scooty through the door when I went to put her back in the round pen, so I did have to address that. She was just seeing things out of the corner of her eye that were making her a little nervous, so I let her investigate them. And after she figured out it was fine, she walked right in very nicely. My ultimate goal at the end of one of these sessions is to leave them in a pretty calm, confident mental state. Although this isn't a training channel, I think it's important for you guys to know that I do actually know what I'm doing, and there is a method to my madness. Very simply, at the end of the day, a happy horse is a trainable horse. Drop a comment below if you could follow along with Scarlett's training today. Sometimes I'm not very good at explaining how I train these horses, but I think Scarlett's whole session today laid it out pretty nicely. Thank you so much for watching and stay tuned for the next one.